Hello, TopFanRivalry followers, and welcome to another edition of um, Unraveling the Red Sox. Boy, we
Our
had such an
favorite show of
interesting
the week,
pregame
Bill. Our
tonight.
favorite show of the week.
Yes, we had such an interesting pregame tonight. Yeah. Let's just say that the pregame would not be allowed in today's culture. Mike, would
You
you
are
agree?
West Coast and I am East Coast.
Yep. That's about, there you go. That's about how it rolls. So, Mike, last week you and I are on the show, and we're just talking about how the Red Sox are just like a 500 team.
Yep,
And then apparently somebody found out about that in the Red Sox organization and said, hold my caffeine free Coke. We're going to show you a few things.
that's right.
So they're 8-2 in their last 10. They're on a 5 game winning streak. They're 11-6 in the month of June. Mike, talk to me. What happened? Did somebody put something in the juju? Did some of the Celtic players come on over? What happened?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that, the Red Sox, they figured out that basketball season is about to be over and they're going to win a championship. So when they stop talking about the Celtics and start paying attention to us, we want them to be talking about positive things. So they said, you know what, we're going to go out there and spank the Yankees, and we're gonna kick Toronto down the ladder for good measure. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you guys manhandled the Yankees. Now you get the Reds for three. And that division is just a cluster. I don't know if you've seen that National League Central division, but it's just a cluster all over the place.
I mean, I
Um,
think the whole National League is pretty logged up.
no, just the National League wild card. There
That
are
that's all right. That's what I meant. The wild
there
card.
there are 9 teams within a game and a half of the National League wild card for second and third place.
Right.
And yeah, so if you're doing the math here, ladies and gentlemen, no disrespect to these next two teams I'm going to mention, but if you're doing the math, you know you have three division leaders and 9 teams, or one that's like running away with the wild card, and then 9 other teams that are right there. So if you are the Colorado Rockies or the Miami Marlins, better luck next year. Everybody else, it's a dogfight.
That's right. Hey, that makes baseball interesting. You know what I mean? National League's got to have something to hold their hats on,
One thousand
or else the
percent.
Phillies would just be running away with it. So it's kind of
One
like what they're doing in over here in Boston. We're making it interesting, keeping it spicy.
So it's funny since you and I. So one night I was having trouble sleeping, and so I pulled up some YouTube clips, and I always like to watch baseball fights and baseball ejections because I think they're hilarious, right? Some of
Oh,
the
sure.
fights, there's no reason for them, and it's just funny. Nobody ever gets really hurt. And then there's other,
Except Don Zimmer.
yeah, exactly, except on Zimmer, yeah. And except when Mark McGuire literally grabbed Matt Williams by the jersey and lifted him up with one hand, that was kind of comical too. Um, but yeah, so the other ones I like to watch is the ejections, right? And my favorite one so far is Aaron Boone doing nothing and getting kicked out.
Oh
That being
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that being said, a Jeter clip came up where they were showing Jeter different cities that he had played in, and people on his retirement saying, Jeter, hats off. So they went to Boston, right? Um, and in the clip, the guy says, in the clip, the guy says, yeah, Jeter, Jeter, you had a great career, but you weren't as good as Nomar. And Jeter, as they're showing him, because this guy's not from Boston, he would have said Nomar.
No my.
The
That's
fact that he
right.
said Nomar no tells me that he's not from Boston. Like,
That's right.
gee, you're
That's
gonna get
right.
away with it.
You might have just been a Red Sox fan, not from Boston. That's why we call it Red Sox Nation, because Red Sox fans are everywhere, as we well know. So, and they're growing here by the day, as the Red Sox rattle off wins, unexpected wins against the Phillies, the Yankees, the best teams in baseball for without any real reason or uh, should they be winning these games in any way, shape, or form, but by pure hard work and grit, they are taking care of business up here in Boston. So
They're definitely
they're doing all the little things. They're not necessarily mashing the ball all over the park as far as like home runs go. But if you check out my article that'll be coming up in the locker room this week, they're playing. They're doing the small things. They're stealing bases, right? You have our table setters, Jaron Duran and David Hamilton. If you watched, was it the Father's Day game? Whew, that Sunday night game, man, it would have been awesome to watch Otani hit 2 home runs in that game in that Dodgers game, wouldn't it have been? Or would you rather the drama of what we saw in that Red Sox game, that Red Sox Yankees game, Bill?
please don't make me answer this. We're recording. I
Right?
I'm just
So
gonna
so
say
that's
this.
why the Red Sox and the Yankees get Sunday night baseball games.
Oh,
In
brother,
case you're
please.
ever curious, remember we talked about what it's like to be sitting at
Yes,
Fenway Park for a Red Sox Yankees game and what that
yes.
feeling is like. And we talked about edge of your seat every pitch. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we were talking about when we
But
when we
see,
said
here's the
that.
thing. Here's the thing. Let's call a spade on this, right? Again, you guys could be 25 and 25, and the Yankees could be 24 and 26, and you guys are still getting the Sunday game of the week. There could be a team that is 49 and 1 going against a team that is 48 and 2, and they're not getting the Sunday night game of the week. Red Sox, Yankees.
History and the way that it doesn't matter what their record is, the rivalry is.
It's good for baseball. It's good for
Yeah,
baseball.
yeah.
And for somebody that's a baseball purist like me that lives on the West Coast and not only loves the game but loves the history, I enjoy it. Okay. But I could when you get out here, I could introduce you to 20 people that think that it drives them crazy. But what they don't seem to understand, and what I would like to tell them, so listen up, you 20 people. um, the schedule is set in like September. They can't just say, "Oh, these people are lights out. These two teams suck, so we're going to just switch the game." It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way.
Right?
So,
They hate
yeah,
us because they're jealous of us, as one person once
yes,
put it.
yes. But I listen. That was a great series for you guys. Again, I've been
It
saying
was.
it on my, I've been saying it on my lives a lot lately, Mike. I keep saying, watch out for the Red Sox. They're pitching. They're pitching right now. And when they figure out how to pitch and hit at the same time, you guys are going to be
and,
dangerous.
and they are starting to do that, and we're seeing that, and that stat that we've talked about, where once they get the lead, they don't give it up.
Mhm.
Right? It's very few games and far between. I think they have. Let's see, we played 75 games and 11 blown saves, 11 blown leads. It's not great. It's not perfect, but for what this team probably was, it's not too bad. Um, they're still crushing it on the road. And they're figuring out at home. Um, Stealing bags all over the place. 9 steals in one game,
Mm.
setting a Red Sox record. They're
Yeah,
shattering records all the time. They're playing a very entertaining brand of baseball right now, and there's a couple things I think too that are playing into that. Uh, and again, I touch on this in my article, so you can read a few more in-depth thoughts about it. But Alex Cora is in a contract year, and he really should be and deserves to be the next highest paid manager in baseball. And it's going to be a crying shame that upper management for the Red Sox, and I'm not talking about Breslow, I'm talking above Breslow, Sam Kennedy. Uh, I don't know if John Henry actually pays attention or not to what's going on. Uh, like they're not going to want to spend the money on Alex Cora, and it's really going to hurt. Uh, it's really going to hurt the franchise, and we've talked about we've talked about this. Uh, in a less serious way in the past, but like we've compared this team to the Cleveland Indians in the major league movies, winning in spite of ownership and upper management, and I really think that that's part of what is going into this team
Yeah.
right now.
Well, and that's a good call. But you guys are you guys are winning games the way that baseball's meant to be played and meant to win. You're the Red Sox, so you have this anticipation that you need to win, but most of the league is not looking at you guys as a powerhouse. They're paying attention to the Orioles and the Yankees. And
Right.
so when they're doing that, that gives you guys a way to just kind of sneak in under the radar. You're 10 games back at recording. Okay. Now, that being said, to me, you know what that translates to? You guys could still win this division. You
I mean,
you
there's a
and
lot of games left between with the Yankees and the Orioles. There's only been, I think, one series with each team.
yeah, and if you guys again, and I tell Astro fans this because Astro fans are like losing their minds right now, right? Um,
And Big Dave, with good reason, should be losing his mind right now.
yeah, yeah, but when you're looking at it from a perspective of this, right? If you end this month 8 games back, less than I'll say less than 12 games, 8 games back or better, you're in a dogfight.
Yep. Yeah.
Because as you have mentioned and as I have mentioned on this show numerous times, you got 6 games before we shoot again, right? 3 against the Reds in Cincinnati, 3 at home against Toronto. You take 4 out of 6 of those.
I mean, they probably take 5 out of 6.
Yeah, yeah. And so I right now the Orioles and the Yankees did you guys a solid because they beat up
Yeah,
on
they
each
beat
other.
up on each other.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Yep. Um, and by the way, Aaron Judge's hand is fine. He hit a monster shot right before recording.
All right, Aaron Judge hand. Aaron Judge hand okay. Mookie Betts hand not okay.
No, no. Did you see Mookie get hit, by the way?
I did not see it. No, but that's bad for baseball because
Well, and
he's such a good personality of the game,
right.
and he's somebody that the game of baseball can really market for
Uh,
a lot of things.
uh, yeah, I didn't realize this. Again, being a hometown guy, right? You don't recognize this. And maybe when the Red Sox had the guys that everybody knew were household names, you didn't recognize it. But somebody had said on another show, they had said it's bad for baseball because people look forward to Mookie Betts coming to their town.
Right.
And
Yep.
and I didn't think of it like that. I just thought, man, this guy's out for 6 to 8 weeks. Um,
Yeah, he's an
so
attraction. He's a draw. He's a guy that sells tickets, especially when you're going to play like, some of the lesser teams and when you're going to play the good teams too, because like, when the Dodgers and the Padres play, like Padres fans want to see Mookie Betts play against the Padres, so like
yeah,
uh yeah, he's a draw. He's a draw.
no, I agree with you. And so by the way, just a side note, I know this is unraveling the Red Sox, but just a side note, and I've been telling Dodger fans this for a bazillion days now, and I literally feel like I'm getting these questions hourly from people. It is as of right now, as of recording right now. The Dodgers are in the West. They are 9 games up over Arizona, 9.5 over San Diego, and 10.5 over the Giants. If there was ever a time for Mookie Betts to go down, now's the time
Sure.
because you're up 9 games and you got the freaking All-Star break in between there, right? Now, I'm not saying that I want him to go down, but again, it's not awesome if it were the beginning of the season, but you built up a lead.
Right.
You built up a lead and you got the All-Star break. Like
Yep.
if you were going to lose one of your guys right now, Devers or somebody big, it's tough. You guys are 10 games back. If you guys were even, it's tough. But if you had a 10-game lead with the All-Star break coming up,
Right. Yep.
I don't know. What do I know? I get paid to talk to you guys.
Right. I mean, there's not, you're right. There's, if there is a time to lose a major piece of your team,
Mhm.
now's the time with that lead, because he comes back and they still have a 3-game lead,
Yeah.
which they shouldn't lose that much ground. Like that, the way that team is constructed, losing Mookie shouldn't really affect them all that much.
Mhm. No, agreed.
Just
Agreed.
plug Kike in and you're good to go, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And exactly. So Kike. Well, we pulled Miguel Rojas in. He's got a better glove than Mookie does, but not the offensive production.
Right, right.
So, but are the Dodgers worried about offense when you have Shohei, you got Freddie, you got Will Smith,
Freddie. Yeah.
you got Teoscar Hernandez, who's killing the freaking ball right now?
Yep. Yep. I mean,
I'm
he
not worried
was a
about scoring runs.
great signing for them. He,
One
I
year
think,
deal.
is the with all of that, Teoscar is the piece that like really helps to, like, all right, it's one additional, like, hard to get out in the lineup.
100%.
You know, so like it really helps to turn the lineup back over to those next guys when when you have him hit, where does he hit, like sixth in the lineup or something like that?
Fourth or fifth.
Oh, really? All right, sorry. Yeah. So
Fourth or fifth. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, okay,
we
so
have that deep lineup though. So
yeah. So to me, though, your boys are doing, and I hate to say it like this, but you guys are kind of exceeding the expectation. You and I both thought 500,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're showing again, they're not showing it by you mentioned 9 stolen bases in one game. You're doing it by playing the game of baseball the way that it's meant to be played for this style of baseball with the pitch clock, with everything like that.
Sure.
You're hitting on the right cylinders. You're
Yep.
not screwing things up. You're hitting on the right cylinders. And so to me, that's a win-win, right? And that's a complete win-win.
I mean, the worst part about it is that, like, like we've mentioned, or like I've mentioned, like, this team is so exciting and you want to get behind these guys and you like this team. They're such a likable team this year.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't matter to upper management. It doesn't seem like they are going to want to invest in this team because they don't want to spend any money. They don't care if they win or lose. Their intent right now is to draw money for the to bring people into the park. The Fenway experience is something that they really push and plug. It's about going to Fenway to watch the Red Sox. It really doesn't matter what the outcome of the game is. You were there. You were at Fenway. You can say you were there. And drawing. And maybe this is actually just you know, a, a reaction to them being so bad the last few seasons. Uh, but they're focusing on bringing the fans for the visiting team into the park and not creating a team for Boston to buy into, which this team is clearly and obviously doing organically. If you watch, the Yankees series, because the crowd was on fire, the crowd was hot. They were excited to watch the little Red Sox beat up on the big bad Yankees again. That's the dynamic that that the Red Sox nation was built on. And to kind of see it come a little bit full circle is great. But if they continue to win, it does. I really still think that, like, you know, if the Red Sox get an offer for Kenley or for Tyler O'Neill, they're gonna send them off. And maybe it's okay for Tyler O'Neill, who has 9 home runs and 9 RBIs on the road this season. Fact checked.
It's got the blue check mark behind it.
Yeah. But like, as a fan, that's not what I want to hear. And unfortunately, like, all of this is being dumped in Craig Breslow's lap, even though he's getting pressure from over him to, like, not to make those sort of things happen, i.e., like trading top players, not really caring, not caring, but like, uh, acting fiscally responsible, asking acting financially responsible to the bankroll of the team ownership, and not uh to the product on the field.
Right.
And that's a little disheartening to come to that realization, especially, and like I said, especially when the team is playing with such intensity, such fire, such grit, uh and you want these guys to do well, to play well, and like, they're only going to be getting better because you have Yoshida, who's just warming up for the season. If he can return to half of the form that he had last year, Casas coming out to get rid of the sieve in the lineup that is Dom Smith. Like, you have these guys that want to be there, that are playing so well together. Uh and again, it seems like it doesn't matter, that's happening. Upper management just doesn't seem to care.
100%. 100%. And that's the hard part, Mike, is when there's, and you and I discussed this at the beginning of the season, right? There's baseball, and then there's the business of baseball.
Yeah.
And it all depends on what upper management likes, what they don't like,
And
there's a
that's
hundred things that
awful
go
for
on.
Boston. Like, that stuff, that's fine in like mid-90s Baltimore, or like, you know, when you're a new franchise, or like, you really weren't, you're Florida, you're the '01, Marlin, or what, 2000 Marlins. Is that the team that won? And then they
Uh,
blew it up.
2001. Yeah.
It won
No,
2001, right?
2000. No, I'm sorry, 2003. They beat the Yankees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
'01
oh
was
03,
Yankees, '02 was Angels, '03 was Marlins.
when you're not expecting to win, and then you blow it up, but that doesn't happen in Boston because of who the Red Sox are.
Yeah.
Like those things aren't supposed to happen in Boston. And again, as a fan, to see it, you're so torn. You're so torn about that.
100%. 100%. 100%. And it's, and eh, so you have, we'll take Mookie, for example. The Mookie trade was probably something that just ticked off a lot of fans. And secretly, you don't want Mookie to not perform, but secretly, you kind of do want him to perform to say, hey, we got the best of that trade. But, you know, you just never know the inside dealings of management. You never know what they're really looking at.
Yeah, and that was really like the tip of the iceberg for this, and like this is kind of where they're at now, because of that.
Yep. No, I agree. I agree. And I absolutely love, again, I I love understanding it. I just don't, some clubs you just don't understand. We talked about this before. The Brewers, right? They go out and they go out and get Reese Hopkins, right? And then you and I are looking at that and going, okay, the Brewers are making a run. And then the next week they ship Corbin Burns to Baltimore, and then they
Right.
sign Gary Sanchez. I'm thinking, what? Somebody help me. I'm not understanding what's happening here. Somebody help me.
Right.
So,
The math ain't mathing in that over
yeah,
over in that
one plus one
organization.
is
But
four right now. I just don't get it.
right. But again, like that's what makes it frustrating about being kind of lumped into like, in with organizations like that, because like that's what Milwaukee does. That's not what Boston does,
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, and see, and here, Mike, here's the unique thing, right? And to the Boston, okay. So we've got a month and like 10 days before the trade deadline. You and I just talked. 13 out of 15 teams are within striking distance of the playoffs in the National League. Okay. Just for fun, let's say that Boston wins the next four series. So every week for the next 4 weeks, they go 16-8 over the next 24 games, right? And of that 16-8, that puts them, I don't know, 5 games out, 6 games out, whatever. Um,
Yeah.
are you guys buyers at that point? Well, if you're down 13 or 14 out of the division and you're 7 games out of the wild card, maybe you're sellers. So it's going to be
Sure.
interesting with so many teams right there. And if you're looking at
But
the
I mean,
National League, by the way, look
you
at the net.
like it
Go ahead.
just doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. The wheels have to dramatically come off
Right.
for the Red Sox to be 7 games out of the wild card at this point.
Exactly. Exactly.
But like, does that mean that when that comes around again, like, are they gonna be buyers? Still probably not.
Well, but here's the thing. When you have 9 teams, so the Braves have the lead in the wild card, right? But if you have 9 teams behind the Braves, all within a game and a half of each other, 9 teams, who's selling?
Oh, sure. Yeah, no. Yeah.
So who's selling? Right? Oh,
Right.
2 weeks ago, before Grimace, we were talking about the Mets doing Met things, right? Now all of a sudden this purple guy shows up, throws out the first pitch, and the Mets are 7-8. I mean, 7-1 in the last 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but that's
It's the summer
that's what's going
sausage
to make it
all over
interesting.
again.
Yeah, and that's what's going to make it interesting. And I had this conversation. So, Mike, play the scenario out for me for 2 minutes as we wrap up. Let's just assume for a second, and this is Red Sox, but you are a baseball purist. Let's assume that the Braves do what the Braves are, excuse me,
Bless you.
Braves are going to do. Okay. And so let's just say you have then a tie, right? Where you have a tie between the White or the Cubs, the Giants, and the Padres. Okay. You have a four-way tie. I'm sorry, and the Cardinals. Okay. Which could conceivably happen. You now have a four-way tie for two positions. I know that they have tiebreakers, but how does that tiebreaker work when you have two division rivals and they have different amount of games against each other. It would be a logistical nightmare. We literally would be watching the seventh game of the World Series right after the Lions game on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah,
And so
right.
it would be awesome because there would be a lot less baseball time off. But can you imagine that scenario? Which is conceivable, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty great, honestly.
So,
Because baseball is such a stats and a numbers game,
mhm,
right? And you know that, and that's part of
yeah,
the purity of the game, and
yeah,
like
yeah.
thinking about all those possibilities and all those probabilities and like all the different scenarios of like what can happen, like oh my gosh, that like I get goosebumps thinking about that.
I, so imagine for a second, Mikey, if they said, okay, we're going to do the head to head matchups. Okay, San Diego, you beat the Giants in the head to head 76. Because remember, they only played 13 games against each other now. It's not
Sure.
18 anymore like it used to be. Oh,
Sure,
13.
and that's good, right? That gives you the ability for those scenarios. You have an odd number of games. There has to be a winner
Correct.
in the head to
So,
head.
but just play this out for a second. Major League Baseball says, "Oh, San Diego, you took 7 out of 13, so you're going to advance. Sorry, San Francisco." Um, and the Cardinals, you took 7 out of 13 against the Cubs. Sorry, Cardinals, you're going to advance. Cubs, you go home. But then when you look at it, maybe the Cardinals or maybe the Cubs had a better record against
San
the
Diego and San
Giants and the
Francisco,
Padres. So how is that fair? Right.
right? Well, according to Chapter 11, Section 13,
13-C-4-17 subsection
colon,
B.
semicolon,
Yeah.
exclamation point.
I mean, play this out though for a second. Have you? I mean, that'd be fun, right? And by
Yeah,
the way,
yeah. But I mean, I guess you'd have. I don't know what all the tiebreakers are, but I'm sure that it's written out there somewhere. My logical brain here working.
I just
So you go by you go. It doesn't matter what they did against their non-divisional opponents. What what matters is what they did against the divisional opponent as
well,
the first tiebreaker, and then you go.
yeah, but how fair is that though? How fair is that? You're literally ending two seasons on a tiebreaker because there's no 163 anymore, right?
Right,
And so the only thing that would logistically make sense is you have a 163, you have the Padres play the Giants, and you'd have the Cardinals play the Cubs, and then there'd be a game 164 with those two,
right. That
trying to
would be
battle it out to figure
the
out
ultimate
who
play in.
has. Well, then you could do the tiebreaker thing, right? Then you could, because now you're down to three teams, which is what they're looking for. But then you can do the tiebreaker of who has bet. But you would have to play game 163, right? And
Yeah.
so
I mean,
or does it become like the College World Series where you have a losers
that's
bracket
the
and a
way
winners
that's the
bracket?
way the cookies crumble, I guess.
now, now I'm watching what is it, Bruce Almighty, and that's the way
Yeah,
the cookie crumbles.
that's right.
Love it. All right, Mike, take us home. We got to wrap up, but take us home. Tell everybody how they can get a discount, what they need to do. Tell everybody whatever things you want to tell them. Tell them where they can also find you outside of Top Fan Rivalry.
Yes, that's right. You can find me personally at Heads Up Sports Cards. It's what I do daily. Sports cards, baseball cards, football cards, basketball cards. Always here to help out. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at Heads Up Sports Cards, all one word. If you have any questions or if you like to do group breaks or anything like that, be sure to check out the locker room for all the great Top Fan Rivalry deals and extras out there. And when you sign up, use the code Unraveling, all one word, for 10% off uh, your membership to the locker room. So go get that done. Get the deals, get the steals. Check us out at Heads Up Sports Cards. and keep watching these Red Sox. They are going to continue to surprise this season. I'm excited.
Awesome. Mike, let's do it again next week, man. This is too much fun, right?
For sure.
All right, buddy. I will talk to you soon.
Bill, have a good one.
You too.